I'm Cow Chicken, and this is going to be a short video, mostly because I have not finished my Magical Girls. Whoopsies. Thought that was going to be way easier than it is, but I kind of completely messed up, and I had to redo all of them. I haven't even designed 3 of them, and I have to put them on a completely different canvas. So that is fun. But I will be here talking about redesigning a character. Redesigning a character kind of sucks because, you got a character, you really like him, you put him down, and you go, oh, this guy stinks! What is up with this man? And woman. But mostly it gets really hard, especially if you have a image in your head, trying to translate that down onto paper, and it just does not work. I had it with this little guy right here called Murray Mantis. Oh, you can't really see his name. M-O-R-I Mantis. Based off of, well, his name's actually, Murray is a scientific name of a silk moth, and Mantis comes from a praying mantis. So he is a very bug boy, very bug related. And I wanted to put that Murray into his design, because his last design, I mean, it kind of did, but it was just kind of his earrings, and then that was it. And I feel like what I had planned for him was so much more. So I'm going to kind of talk over my process of doing this, and some tips that I could possibly share to try and help you guys do your own character redesign. So what I have for Murray Mantis is that he is one of my characters that has a motif. A motif, by definition, overview definition, is a recurring or repeated pattern, idea, object, or phase within a work of art, literature, or music or design. In this case, it's going to be design, and this apparently was made by the French, so thank you, French, for the motif name. Dubbing it, anyway. So he's very bug related, and I wanted to push that motif more, since he only really had his bug earrings, his butterfly wing earrings. I had to do a few hairstyles, and it took me until doing his superhero redesign that I got these little back antennas, which I repurposed those for his Magical Girl design, which is a gender bent version of him, and put them on the top of her bun to mimic little antennas, and I think they're really cool looking. But yeah, I have his hair. I was never happy with his hair. His hair took forever for me. But I always find motifs, going back to the motifs, I always find motifs much easier to create a character with. Because you already have an idea, and then you can just go to Pinterest, or, well, I like to use Pinterest if you do not have Pinterest, and are not able to get Pinterest. Google should work. And you could also just take photos of anything. When you go out to the store, you can take photos. That's what I do. I like taking photos of all the cute outfits. I'm like, I'm going to use this for a character, and I never do. But if you do have Pinterest, I would recommend setting up a bird and putting everything that you would like in there, because sometimes your brain just goes kapooey, and you cannot think of anything. For drawing Murray Mantis with this new little redesign, it took... Well, the first try on both of them, actually. It is not rare for me to go with my first design. I keep trying other designs, and they just don't ever look how I want, but somehow the first design... But again, like I said, I already redesigned this guy twice. Probably even 3 times, actually, on paper. I even tried to do design on, Picroos first, and it was just not working. So I went back, and I looked at some of my hair references I had in Pinterest, and I saw this one guy who has this really nice hair. I already used this character as an example from my other hand, but his hair looks much funkier. And I tried to put some of that into this guy's hair, that more swoopy curve. This did cause some problems, but I think I was able to make it distinct him from some of the other characters that also have swoopy hair, because recently a lot of my characters I've been designing have swoopy hair, and it also kind of made him look very similar to Steve. They already had a lot of similarities, so especially trying to push him away from that, because the only times they really meet are in the Superhero AU and Magical Girl AU that I'm working on right now, but still wanted to make sure that they're distinct enough that they didn't clash or anything, make it look like they were the same person. I also did some accessory sketches down in the left bottom corner, just to get a feel of what I wanted. There was this really like cool like bag, like chest bag that I really wanted to put in, but when I got to actually designing it, I realized that it would be very convoluted in that area and it wouldn't really work. So I had to drop it. Womp womp. The headphones I actually ended up putting on him were not from anything. I just wanted to put headphones on him and make him buggy, since his superhero is a ladybug. I wanted to be reminiscent of that. It is weird having a design that actually works, that is not his regular design. So I did at least have something to go off of. The best I could do is best I could say for anyone trying to do this is to get a collage, basically. Especially if you have a motif. Motifs, like I said, are probably the easiest to do because you already have something to base it off of. And it makes it much easier to create little things. Like I could give him a cape and have those be ladybug wings. Even going very specific, you could also do like specific flowers. I'd have to do bugs, which his was just bugs, not any specific type of bug. Which I probably should have headed more onto the silk moth that he is named after. But I also have to say, not only are motifs very important in a character design, not very important, but very easy to get done. And if you already have a character that you're redesigning, having a motif, I forgot I got those. Sorry. Having a motif they can easily put into a character. Like, you already have to, okay. Oh, I'm getting convoluted. Oh, I do apologize. Nothing I'm saying is making sense. But if you already have a character that you know very well, it's easier to get symbolism or a motif off of that. For my letting go characters, which this guy is a parent of, they all have heavy flower and symbolism. Not in their design, but more with the story. Now the magical girls are going to have that flower motif actually heavily in their design, because that's what they're making magical girls from. But one of my characters, Draco, he actually does have his flower as a motif. It's very light. He just has his right sleeve all sewed. Oh, what's it called? Embroidered with roses. He also has a rose ring, and that's very much it. You can go very heavy on this if you look at Genshin Impact characters like Kanich, or even Yoimiya. She has two. She has kind of a goldfish and a firework. Sorry, and a firework motif. Kanich is very heavy with his 8-bit old style retro game, I guess. I don't know, just very pixel. I do really like Kanich. And it is probably just because of the heavy use of that motif. But you could also go for a lighter use where it's not really used that much, but still repeated. That is what makes a motif. It's in there at least twice. But yeah, for his color, I already had I had every color of the rainbow already in my letting go. But I already had it, but I envisioned him very highly as a green. So I had to distinct his green from the green I already had, because I like being able to draw them with color pencils, or just sketch them in a color and automatically know who they are based on that color. So having two greens kind of threw a wrench in that, especially since they looked very similar to each other. Both had black hair, both had long black hair even, and wearing very green overcoat baggy clothes. So to distinct them a bit more, I did try to put some I tried to make it more distinct by not only changing the color to be more yellowish and go more to that yellow category, so it's more of a yellow green than a blue green. I also made sure his hair had very distinctly, like I said, I put these little bat hairs to make him very distinct. One thing that people say always to focus on when focusing on a character, especially if you're doing a lineup of characters, is to focus on the silhouette. I am not the best at this. Silhouettes do kind of confuse me. But it's very important to look at the silhouette and make sure that they stand out in a crowd. If you line up all your characters and they all kind of just look the same or very similar, it can get very confusing who is who, especially when doing very small artwork, which I like doing very small pieces, so I need to heavily work on being able to tell someone from very far away in the fewest lines as possible, which is why I take color very seriously, is because if everyone has a distinct color, you don't have to focus much heavily on silhouette anymore. Still should. I just cheat my way out of it. Sorry, my throat is dying. That's fun. Can I edit this? I really hope I could. Other things you want to keep in mind when doing a character is people a lot of times say shape language. If you don't know shape language, and this is... Oh, that'd be terrible. This is your first design video you're watching. A circle is very, like, soft, cuddly characters. Mean no harm. Very innocent. Very, cuddly. I think I already said that. While squares are very strong and sturdy characters, so they use them very much for, like, dads and stuff like that. While triangles, for some reason, this is the rudest outrage, I'll never forgive them for this. Triangles are very evil, rude, mean, menacing. They're very sharp and pointy, which I still find them the best shape ever, but that is okay. Shape language is kind of hard to put off I've seen people do so many cool things with shape language in a very cartoony style, but when you go more into that semi-realism style, but even Phineas and Ferb, he has a triangle head and it's not like he's menacing at all. So shape language can either divert people's expectations and follow them through. I am a person that likes to divert expectations, so having all these shape language is kind of nice to figure out what to do to make people judge a book by its cover and be very wrong about that. His style is also something I wanted to point out. Having a specific style to give a character is very nice, very easy. Not very easy, but a great way to get a character to be distinct, especially in women's fashion. Women's fashion have so many better options than men's fashion. I just wish I could draw them. But there's many different types. You can do academia, dark academia, grunge. I don't actually know what this one's called. But it's very, like, furnisty, done at home, DIY. Just thrown together whatever you have in your closet while also still looking nice. Man. I need to drink water. But basically what I keep in mind is that another thing that took a while for me to get is patches. I always had such cool patches, but having to actually be able to draw those tiny patches when also drawing tiny, it just doesn't really work. So I try to do patches like, when people like get a rip and they go so under, like they fold the jeans inside out and they sew a different piece of fabric into that. So when that rip is like a different, like, space galaxy or bones or what other fun fabric you had lying around. You usually see this in, like, kids' clothes when, like, moms, like, sew up clothes. I tried to do that for him since I thought it would be an easier way to try and incorporate the patches he has, because I wanted to show that he was kind of more lower class and, what's it called? Repaired his own clothes instead of just buying them. Doesn't really mean he's lower class, because, funnily, he's not. Fully, anyway. But it does show the type of person he is, that he's not just going to throw away his clothes, he's going to keep them and repair them. It also shows that he's willing to repair them, unlike Steve, who has a giant hole in his thing and it's not repaired whatsoever, but he still has to throw it away. It gives him a character to design, and that's very important, something that you want to do, and I wish I could speak so much better, but my throat is dying, so I'll probably leave it off on there. So yeah, I will hopefully be back next time with an actual video. But yeah, have a great day and hope this went well and I'm not dying here from what's it called? Dehydration. Drink water. Bye. Okay.